5 minutes on a Friday afternoon in August, everything is forgotten. For one brief moment, the music and the motion come together. And childhood, the excitement of childhood, is available to all. Ray Summers at large.
At 6, we'll have the latest on the Oregon National Guard unit that's heard the call of duty.
See you then.
The U.S. Embassy in Kuwait stays open, surrounded by Iraqi troops. Saddam Hussein reneges on a promise to let U.S. diplomats leave Baghdad. And in America, reserve units are getting the call. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather continuing our on-scene coverage of the crisis in the Gulf, tonight from Amman, Jordan. It's the middle of the night here in the Middle East, but few here are sleeping easy. In many ways, life goes on. There are diplomatic efforts to tone things down, but there is a smell of danger in the air, a growing fear that the confrontation between the United States and Iraq may be about to explode. The number one flashpoint, the United States Embassy in Kuwait. Iraqi troops today surrounded the compound. Inside, the U.S. ambassador and a small staff defied Iraqi orders to shut down and move out. One report said the troops are threatening to force them out within hours. It's unconfirmed. Other U.S. Embassy personnel and dependents arrived from Kuwait in Baghdad today, but the Iraqis reneged on a promise to allow them to leave the country and now hold them. Another tidal wave of refugees from Iraq crashed into Jordan during the day after Jordanian officials reversed themselves and kept the border open. A Soviet television newscaster tonight reported a warning from Mikhail Gorbachev, the one-time ally Saddam Hussein. The situation is dangerous. Pull out of Kuwait or face tougher international action. In Iran, President Rafsanjani announced that Iran supports the United Nations trade embargo against Iraq and will comply with it. The White House reported today that despite the embargo, chemical warfare products and other military equipment are finding their way into Iraq. On the diplomatic front, Jordan's King Hussein took his peacekeeping mission to Sudan. And Austrian President and former UN Secretary General Kurt Waldheim said he will go to Baghdad to try to win release of foreign hostages. President Bush is following developments in Iraq and Kuwait from the vacation White House. Wyatt Andrews reports from Kennebunkport.
With the president at times directing this increasingly tense standoff by cell phone, today's potential tripwire was the U.S. Embassy in Kuwait. The American ambassador and a small staff remain cloistered here as the symbolic challenge to the Iraqi annexation. Outside, Iraqi soldiers gathered today, their intentions and orders so far unclear.
I don't believe there's been any direct contact, although it is our conclusion that they're not allowing people to enter or to leave.
100 other diplomats from the embassy were allowed to leave for Baghdad, but were not allowed to leave Iraq. The White House declared those diplomats to be hostages and accused Saddam Hussein of yet another lie.
Iraq had been promising to live up to the international commitment to our diplomatic envoys and to allow them to leave the country.
Saddam's bizarre broadcast with his British captives yesterday also drew a verbal attack from an angry White House.
To hold men, women, and children up for viewing as targets for destruction is sick beyond expression.
Officials describe the outlook here as tense, but not yet hot. Because some 3,500 other Americans were already considered hostages, the plight of 100 diplomats does not change the president's tactical picture. However, physical harm to any American, especially those diplomats pinned in Kuwait, would change this wait-and-see attitude dramatically. Wyatt Andrews, CBS News, Kennebunkport.
Late today, the official Iraqi news agency, monitored by us here in Jordan, reported that the male diplomats will be held in Iraq, but their families, the Iraqis now say, will be allowed to leave. Mark Phillips has more from the State Department.
For the embassy staffers who left Kuwait, it was a trip from the frying pan to the fire. 19 hours across the Iraqi desert, car breakdowns, long delays at the border, only to be detained in Baghdad. Back at the embassy in Kuwait, a skeleton staff headed by Ambassador Nathaniel Howell.
Speaks the language fluently and as tough as a nut. I'd hate to be an Iraqi soldier going up against Nat.
Cut off by Iraqi soldiers, embassy staffers are limited in helping Americans stranded under Iraqi occupation.
because of restraints put on movement by the embassy staff in general in terms of contacting Americans, and because we know that the Iraqis are monitoring the embassy's local telephone calls in an attempt to locate American citizens.
A special task force has been working round the clock in Washington trying to keep relatives informed, but there's been little in the way of good news.
We haven't gotten an answer yet.
There was some encouragement internationally. The Iranians said they would embargo Iraqi goods, and the Soviets announced that President Gorbachev had sent a stern message to Saddam Hussein telling him to abide by the UN order to get out of Kuwait, or the Soviets would support tougher measures. And with that, word that the Security Council may be closer to a deal on using force to support the blockade.
I'm still very optimistic, and I believe we're continuing to make progress.
The blockade and enforcement of sanctions may still be at the center of the U.S. effort against Iraq, but each day's increasing abuse of Americans becomes a further test of U.S. patience and restraint. Mark Phillips, CBS News, the State Department.
The State Department said today the United States is sending Jordan an emergency $1 million and 500 tents to help with the tidal wave of refugees coming in from Iraq. Jordan announced today it was reopening its doors to the refugees less than 2 days after being forced to shut them. Peter Van Sant reports from the Iraqi-Jordanian border.
Arab refugees stuck this morning on the Jordanian border were choked by dust from blockade-running trucks carrying supplies to Iraq. Thousands of desperate people were caught in a no-man's land between Iraq and Jordan, waiting for the border to open.
What do you have now?
I not have anything. My car only and my family.
Many received their first food in days, calmly lining up for bread. A sharp contrast from yesterday when panic swept through a hungry mob. Surging crowds forced immigration officers to retreat to the roof of their building. They were trying to get their passports stamped. One tried in vain to find a shortcut to the top. Today, a different kind of panic. This man wonders if his baby boy will survive.
Just to live as good guy who in the future, or to die in the sun here, hungry from no milk, no water, nothing at all. No food at all.
Some say they have seen death in the desert on the road to Jordan.
You saw dead children?
Yes, three children on the road. Three child dead.
Jordan's border is now a revolving door, opening and closing to keep the flow of refugees at a manageable number. When asked how many refugees would cross today, one border guard answered with a question: who could count? 6 buses sent by the United Nations arrived at this refugee crossroads today, but many more are needed as thousands await a chance to make their way home. Peter Van Sant, CBS News, at the Jordanian-Iraqi border.
The United States added today to the noose its Navy is building in the Persian Gulf, but even so, military hardware is getting through to Iraq, as Defense Department correspondent David Martin reports.
Completing an all-out dash from the East Coast, the battleship Wisconsin steamed into the Persian Gulf today, its 16-inch guns and cruise missiles allowing it to reach targets well inside Iraq. The Navy has never before sent a battleship into the close confines of the Persian Gulf. There are 8 other U.S. warships in the Gulf, most of them watching for Iraqi vessels attempting to violate the embargo. U.S. Navy ships have a half dozen suspected violators under surveillance in the Persian Gulf, the Gulf of Oman, and the Red Sea. But the White House says some goods, some dangerous goods, are getting through, apparently by air.
Military material that appears to be coming in through some routes, and also the procurement of chemical warfare products, which we have great concern about, and that appears to be taking place from some other countries as well.
Administration officials say Fitzwater was referring specifically to Libya, which has flown several plane loads into Baghdad in the past few days. Although Pentagon officials caution there is no proof the planes were carrying chemical weapons. Some American ships, the battle group headed by the carrier Eisenhower, actually headed out of the region today, north through the Suez Canal and into the Mediterranean. The Pentagon is confident the 2 carriers still in the region, plus 150 Air Force planes on the ground in Saudi Arabia, can do the job. In order to pay for all this firepower, Defense Secretary Cheney today invoked an obscure law which allows him to exceed his budget in order to feed and care for the troops. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
For American forces new to the Persian Gulf, there was another day of adjusting to temperatures well into triple digits and preparing for the heat of battle. Correspondent Bob Simon reports from the furnace that is Saudi Arabia.
The pillars of American strategy are beginning to emerge from the sand. Avoid a slow escalation, avoid a protracted engagement, avoid getting bogged down in the desert. With increasing firepower on the ground now, there's more tough talk in the air. The command is putting out the word that if and when the decision is taken to attack, it will include the full array of U.S. forces and that the target will be nothing less than Saddam Hussein and his command structure. All that's still missing, officers say, is some heavy armor from America and something that can be perceived as provocation from Iraq. The 101st Airborne showed off its Apache helicopters today, a visual message to Baghdad to match the hardening rhetoric. This is the Army's prime tank killer, maneuvering over terrain where the only shade is its shadow. Equipped with Hellfire missiles, which, like so much of the Pentagon's arsenal, has performed well in training but has never been fired in anger.
Well, the Hellfire right now can defeat any tank in anybody's inventory, and it can do it at quite a long distance.
In a more somber note of preparedness, the Air Force now has the capability on this base alone to medevac, or aerovac as it's now called, 750 American casualties to hospitals in Germany. The planes are manned by reservists mainly. Many of them arrived today.
It was quite quick. Go home, pack, say goodbye. If they need medical folks, we're good at what we do, and this is the place we need to be.
Earlier, a school of starlifters stood around like so many hammerhead sharks. Mammoth whales disgorged their cargoes under the watchful eyes of a praying mantis and friends, all eclipsed by a shooting star leaping to the sky. All this terrible beauty blinding onlookers for now to the awful things which are bound to happen if and when the real shooting starts. Bob Simon, CBS News, Saudi Arabia.
The United States activated 6 Air Force Reserve units today as part of the military buildup in the Gulf. Jim Stewart reports on the reserve call-out.
The first calls began overnight and will continue through the weekend.
We just got alert notice, and I'm here to inform you that you got to report to the Army at 1,700 hours today.
By noon tomorrow, 202 reserve units in all 50 states and Puerto Rico will have gotten the word. Most are leaving for Saudi Arabia.
I got the call this morning at 1 o'clock, and I was kind of surprised. I questioned the scheduler about it, and he wasn't really too happy about giving us the call.
To put the Persian Gulf buildup in perspective, consider that more than twice as many reservists alone in the Army, Air Force, Navy, and Marines will serve in Saudi Arabia, as did all active duty troops that fought in the Panama invasion. The units called today ranged from entire squadrons of C-5As and C-141 cargo lifters to the tiny 1241st Postal Detachment in Montgomery, Alabama, the state with the most units going, 12 altogether. While the first to be called were pilots and cargo handlers, today's alert touched such obscure groups as linguists and intelligence specialists, all now belonging to Uncle Sam.
Being as I'm activated now, and they can basically tell me what to do.
The Pentagon reports response to the call-up has been overwhelmingly supportive, citing lines of people looking to sign up at some units on alert, all despite the prospect of a reduced income.
There's no question that the income is cut in half, and no, I haven't made it. I mean, there is no arrangements to make with the employer. You're off the payroll.
The reservists join what can only be described now as a flood of Americans to the Middle East. Day by day, the numbers become clearer. Within a month or so, 250,000 American fighting men and women will be committed to Saudi Arabia. Jim Stewart, CBS News, Washington.
Still to come on the CBS Evening News, more of our on-scene coverage of the growing crisis in the Gulf, so stay here with us.
Hey, waffles.
Yeah. I thought we'd try these common sense oat bran waffles.
Oh, so today we're doing wholesome. Hey, wait, these are really good.
I wouldn't mind eating them all day.
I have nothing planned. Seriously, we should have these again sometime. How does tomorrow sound? Works for me.
Kellogg's Common Sense Oat Bran Waffles from Eggo, also in fruit and nuts. You never expected wholesome oat bran to taste so...
In August, make more space around your place. You can do it with Contico Tough Crate storage organizers from True Value hardware stores. Durable tough crates won't rust, dent, or chip, and they can handle big loads with hinged lids to keep toys, books, clothes, and supplies inside. In August, Contico Tough Crates are just $6.88 each, while supplies last at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
I didn't think it could happen here, but it did.
To prevent water damage, millions trust their homes to Thompson's Water Seal. Its unique formula penetrates wood, concrete, and brick to lock water out like nothing else. It's the #1 seller, Thompson's Water Seal.
If your American Express traveler's checks are lost or stolen, just phone and your refund can be delivered virtually anywhere.
So you, hon?
Take only American Express traveler's checks. Don't leave home without them.
After taking off like a rocket in the wake of Iraq's invasion of Kuwait, oil prices today steadied and even dropped. But analysts said that was due to profit-taking, and no one expected the price slowdown to continue. Business correspondent Ray Brady looks at the problem and a solution Americans might find hard to live with.
They keep climbing higher and higher, up 19.9 cents a gallon just since the start of this month. A rise fueled, say some experts, by worries about future supplies.
We're probably going to have a shortage of both crude oil and products, like home heating oil, over the course of the next couple of months.
One reason, Americans are still burning up fuel at a time when the airlift to Saudi Arabia, the greatest airlift in history, is gulping down huge amounts of oil, the same kind of oil that makes home heating oil, and that's tightening supplies.
Already, the wholesale price of home heating oil has gone from 57 cents on July 30th to 91 cents a gallon today. A rapid increase that's bringing charges suppliers may be holding oil off the market.
If a businessman or a trader can realize that what they're holding on to today is worth more tomorrow, he certainly would sell tomorrow or this afternoon rather than right now.
And are some consumers adding to a pinch by stocking up now?
Yes, quite a few customers who really don't need the oil are speculating on taking deliveries, which are quite small, and really don't need it.
But as things stand now, the odds are pretty good that we're going to end up with physical shortages.
What's needed, say analysts, is for Americans to realize it's time to conserve. Ray Brady, CBS News, New York.
There was another signal of a possible recession ahead tonight as the government reported growth in the nation's gross national product slowed to a 1.2% annual rate between April and June. Today's figure was unchanged from the Commerce Department's first official estimate last month, but analysts said it showed a sluggish economy even before full effects of the Persian Gulf crisis take hold. An Irish schoolteacher who was taken hostage in Lebanon more than 4 years ago was released tonight. A pro-Iranian group said it freed 39-year-old Brian Keenan in West Beirut. Keenan is the fifth Western hostage to be released in 5 months. 6 Americans remain captive in Lebanon. Stay with us now for more from the Middle East and the other developments of the day.
Why buy one of those refrigerators that may be guaranteed for only the next few years when you could have the only one that has a money-back guarantee until the year 2000? The Maytag refrigerator. Buy one now, and if it stops working before the year 2000, we'll buy it back. See a Maytag dealer for details. See a Maytag repairman in our commercials. The Maytag refrigerator. Buy one now, and we'll guarantee it till the year 2000.
I got just 2 things to say about this cereal. Boring. It's too simple. These days you gotta add oats or straw or hay or something. This is nothing but flakes. All right, the taste is good. I'm kind of shocked that something this simple tastes this good. You know, I think your simplicity angle will work after all. This cereal might just make it.
Kellogg's Cornflakes.
Cornflakes? Hey, can I pick a winner or what?
Taste them again for the first time.
To get rid of her gray, my wife can spend 40 minutes. But I discovered the 5-minute hair coloring.
The revolutionary discovery called Just for Men from the leader in men's hair coloring. Simply apply Just for Men and in 5 minutes shampoo out.
Gray is blended away. The look of my natural color is back in 5 minutes. That was me, and it won't fade or wash out.
My hair takes forever, but you look great in just
5 minutes.
The look of your natural color in just 5 minutes with Just for Men.
South Africa acted today to stop the fighting between blacks that has claimed more than 500 lives in less than 2 weeks. South Africa's white-dominated government imposed emergency laws in the hardest-hit areas. Harold Dow in New York has more.
The new emergency laws came on a day of relative calm in the townships, but left little doubt that the peace process in South Africa is beginning to come apart. Under the laws, the police once again have the authority to take almost any steps to maintain order.
I totally disagree that these measures are necessary.
But they were prompted by fierce fighting around Johannesburg between Mandela's African National Congress and Zulu tribesmen. More than 500 people have been killed in just 2 weeks.
We are extremely concerned about the unrest, the violence, and we are really determined to try and stop it.
Archbishop Desmond Tutu walked through the townships today trying to bring peace, and he urged the government not to make the emergency laws permanent. Just 3 months ago, there was so much hope that South Africa was truly on the road to change. Blacks and whites talked peace together. But today, those hopes are being crushed, ironically, by blacks fighting blacks. Harold Dow, CBS News, New York.
The nation's toughest abortion law was declared unconstitutional today. A federal judge ruled against the abortion law that Pennsylvania passed last year. Among other things, it required a woman to notify her husband before obtaining an abortion. A spokesman says Pennsylvania will appeal today's decision. 5 South Carolina state legislators were indicted today for allegedly violating a federal anti-corruption law. The law forbids accepting money or gifts in return for votes or favors. Conviction carries a maximum penalty of 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. The 5 were indicted after a long investigation. Federal officials say the investigation is continuing and there will be more indictments. A judge in Reno, Nevada today ruled the British heavy metal band Judas Priest was not responsible for the deaths of 2 young men who shot themselves in 1985. 18-year-old Raymond Belknap and James Vance, who was 20, had spent 6 hours drinking beer, smoking marijuana, and listening to a record album called Stained Glass. The judge said their families failed to prove that the recording contained hidden messages that were the cause of the shootings. The president of a major urban development firm and 2 other people died today when their private plane crashed in a Boston neighborhood. The Piper Cheyenne turboprop, which was flying from Cape Cod, crashed in a driveway, setting 2 houses on fire. Dead in the crash, 49-year-old Michael Spear, president of the Rouse Company, whose projects include New York's South Street Seaport and the Harbor Place in Baltimore. Reports said the other victims were Spear's wife and their 20-year-old daughter. In a moment, a look at some of the Americans who are finding that they're going to have to sacrifice as the military is no longer for them a part-time job.
When constipation strikes, you feel bloated, twisted. You just can't go on. You want fast medicine. X-Lax, to put you back on top of the world. Fast. X-Lax, the right medicine.
When you've got hemorrhoids, walking is hard. Sitting is worse. Anusol ointment has an anesthetic for the pain and itch. Does your brand? Anusol ointment has an anesthetic to take the hurt out of hemorrhoids.
Grandma, isn't this fun?
I want my Certa.
Why do people want a Certa? The answer is the exclusive Certa Surface. It'll spoil you for sleeping any other way. So get a Certa Perfect Sleeper.
I want my Certa.
Get your Certa on sale now during the nationwide Certa truckload sale at participating retailers. But hurry, the trucks are rolling in today.
I have a headache. I have a bad headache. I can't think. I can't concentrate.
Today, Michael Farbstein is trying extra-strength Tylenol gel caps. For pain like his, why take aspirin or ibuprofen when nothing works better than Tylenol gel caps?
My headache is 100% gone. I can think. I can concentrate. I can do what I have to do. Tylenol gel caps really did the job.
Tylenol gel caps, only from Tylenol. For everyday pain, nothing works better. And for your allergies, now try Tylenol Allergy Sinus.
Civilians yesterday, active duty in the military today. That story, as old as combat, is being enacted in our country now on a scale not seen since the Vietnam era. And the principals, those having to sacrifice, may be your neighbors. Eric Ingberg has a case in point from Stewart Air National Guard Base in New York State.
Within 1 hour after we received the message yesterday, we had everybody contacted.
The 137th Military Airlift Squadron, New York Air National Guard, answered the bell today. Few who drove through the heavily guarded gates of their base were surprised. This unit flies the giant C-5 cargo planes, which are the backbone of the U.S. airlift. Members left spouses without knowing when they'd be together again.
Gave her a big hug and kiss goodbye and told her and the kids not to worry about Dad, that I'll be home soon.
Commanders don't want their names used, but Ed will tell you right up front that he was a bank vice president on New York's Park Avenue when he went to bed last night. Today, he turned in his expensive suit for a set of fatigues and combat boots. He'll take a big pay cut without complaint.
When I did commit to put this uniform on and to serve, that I knew that serving the country didn't necessarily mean one weekend a month.
Your orders are in here. Many are commercial airline pilots and mechanics, but the squadron also has lawyers, doctors, cops who joined the Guard for the camaraderie and extra money. Today, they were asking, where am I going?
You join the military to do a job, and you're going to be scared. I don't know. Deep down, maybe. Right now, not yet.
The only thing I've got to worry about is, is next month, middle of the month, that's when you start paying bills again.
The cold, professional attitude in the briefing rooms was broken only occasionally by emotion.
As we're on the road, as we leave our families, as we think about being back here, I need each and every one of you to take care of one another as we have in the last 5 years. I love you all. Thank you.
Their lives had been changed today. As for tomorrow, none of them could even say where they would be tomorrow. Eric Ingberg, CBS News, Newburgh, New York.
And that's the news from our world tonight. I'll be reporting from here in the Middle East throughout the weekend, and Bob Schieffer will be in New York. Dan Rather for the CBS Evening News, reporting tonight from Amman, Jordan, from the Middle East. Good night.
Kellogg's